Hello, everyone. WGU friends, South College friends, anyone that is watching this video, thanks for tuning in. Today, I thought I would make a video dedicated to something that I think is really important and maybe overlooked a lot of the time. And that is researching programs that you're interested in and taking time to really delve into what program might be well suited to you. And I see this a lot in my job because one of my jobs is actually working with students and their careers and helping them map out their careers. Now, the thing I want to mention here is that I have quite a bit of experience in this area, and I've deliberately tested out different types of learning activities. So programs that were online, programs that were in person, programs that were synchronous or asynchronous online. And something that I learned is that it's really important to find a program in a way that you prefer to learn. So stay tuned if that's something you're interested in. Okay, so the first time I went to school, I did not research the program that I went to, and I ended up going to a school that was in a very small town for a specific program that was creative and not well suited for that town. And I found that it wasn't enough to just kind of say, hey, it was local, it was close to me, hopefully it'll work out, because at the end of the day, I really didn't have the opportunities to network that I could have if I went to a bigger city or city that was more open-minded. And that really spawned a different way of thinking after I finished it. I thought, you know what, why don't I take time to really think about where I want to go next? And in that case, that was my bachelor's degree, because I did an associate's degree and then a bachelor's degree. And then after that, I did 3 master's degrees. When I researched my bachelor's degree, what I was really trying to figure out was what were my main goals with the program, and does the program itself lend to that? So at the time, I really wanted to be an art director for a magazine. I applied to many different programs that were kind of with a focus on design. Now, the program that I ended up choosing really was, does it give me an opportunity to do that? And how I decided that was, does it have work experience embedded into the program? And at the time, I could take practicum courses that helped me get work experience. Did it allow me to work on campus? And I thought, in the least, could I gain work experience while going to school? And then was the program reputable, and did it allow for a very rigorous creative education? Because again, I was in a creative field and it did. So that was my way of researching. However, when I got into advanced schooling, which meant kind of master's level, and now I'm kind of thinking about doctoral level, my aims for researching have shifted. What personally I am interested in are programs that have flexibility, affordability, and rigor all at the same time, which is something that I feel is very much out there because there are a lot of online programs for both master's and doctoral degrees now. However, what I also was interested in within the flexibility element was, can I go at my own pace and direct my own learning? Because what I learned is that over time, you will start to understand how you prefer to learn. Now, I teach in a university, and I realize that many students prefer to learn by having everything orchestrated for them, which means that there's a course syllabi that's designed and an instructor that comes in and says, on week 1, we're going to learn this, and I'm going to teach you that. And I'm going to use many different ways of teaching you that, whether that's experiential ways of learning in the classroom, where we're going to do activities and workshop-based learning or projects, or I'm going to kind of do more of a lecture-based learning where you're going to take notes. And then also thinking about what type of assessments you like. So in the courses I teach, there's a lot of projects, there's a lot of papers. Now, other assessments are generally tests. And maybe there could be demonstrations. Like if you think about medical school, they have to do OSCEs, which are certain types of tests that you have to demonstrate an understanding in that moment. So what I learned is that I actually don't do well in lecture-based learning. I don't know if it's my brain is just overactive, but I lose interest very quickly when I'm listening to someone lecture at me. And unless I'm extremely interested in the subject matter, I tend to tune out. Now, the best way to combat that is for me to take notes, and I take a lot of notes while listening to someone. However, if they're not at a speed that aligns with my brain, so that could be I need them to go faster, I need them to go slower, I tend to lose interest, or I lose my ability to pay attention. So a lot of the times I would say it's that I need them to go quicker. And when people go quicker, a lot of the times I can pay attention. And that's why videos work well, because I can speed them up. However, projects work well and papers work well because I love writing. Writing is an opportunity for me to really express my way of thinking and frame it in a very structured way. So not only is that how I like to learn, it's how I like to be assessed, But going back to the learning element, I also like to learn in a way where I can direct the learning. And I don't know if I could start my academic journey and have that same mindset. I think over time, I've grown to be more self-directed, which means essentially that I like to take the reins. I like someone to give me a bunch of resources, give me the assessments. So that could be a paper, give me the outline of what they need in that paper, and let me dive deep into how to unpack that topic and write it up in a paper or a project. And I can do that on my own. Now, if a program nowadays is too directed from the instructor's point of view, I find that I get very frustrated. And so for me, when I was doing my research for master's as well as doctoral degree, I was looking for opportunities to direct my studies. And I found that the highest form of that is competency-based education, which is what I advocate for in this channel or on this channel. What it means is that I can do the courses at my own speed by doing the assessments when I want, and sometimes even how I want. Like I've said in a past video, when I've researched programs like the one at South Campus for doctoral education, at times you can actually choose the format of your assessment. So maybe a YouTube video, it could be a paper, it could be a certain type of analysis with a certain framework. Now, what I want to mention is that this model of learning doesn't work for everyone. And I've realized this because some of my friends, when I tell them about the education that I've done, think like, how do you motivate yourself to do this? I find that the reason why I like this type of education is that I am very achievement driven and I'm very goal oriented, which means that I like to set goals for myself and achieve them. So even a small goal of saying, hey, by the end of today, I want to finish 40% of this paper. And if I do, and then maybe I can reward myself somehow. And when I say reward, it doesn't have to be a dramatic reward. Sometimes it's just doing something little, which could be going for a walk or going for a bike ride or something that I enjoy doing that makes me feel active. It doesn't always have to be treating myself in the most indulgent ways. And because I can have that mindset, I can kind of set my own timelines and timeframes to get things done. Now, doing your own education by guiding your own education is something that you can learn. And I find that there are so many ways nowadays. Like you could take a MOOC. I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's like one of those big online courses that thousands of people take. So you can think of a platform like Coursera or edX or Udemy, and they have tons of courses and you can do them in 4 weeks. And I found that I got really good at self-directing my learning by taking those courses. Now, not all the time is it easy to finish them because if you're not interested in the content, it can be hard to do them. And then when I can go through that course, I can do it in a way that is very similar to competence-based education where I have to set my own deadlines, get myself motivated, finish things on time, and then at the end you can get a certificate and there's that accomplishment. I did a lot of those prior to doing with WGU or Western Governors University, and I think that that was very helpful for me accelerating when I did my first master's there. When I did my second master's, I did it in about 70 days, which is crazy. But the reason why I could do that is I did one program prior at WGU. I could understand that feeling of excitement when I got things done efficiently. When you can start to feel that feeling, that is extremely motivating. I got kind of like a dopamine hit from doing a course in a very short period of time and knowing that I could get credit for it. I would think to myself like, wow, when I was in my bachelor's, I had to spend 3.5 months doing this course, but here I could do it in a couple days. And that was because I was very focused, very direct in my learning, and I could go right to the assessments. So kind of what I'm talking about here is you want to figure out a way to research programs that are going to be suited to your needs, and that could be your goals, your career goals, your life goals, but also in a way that you prefer to learn. And because the channel is dedicated to competence-based education, I focused on that here in this video. And I would say that if that model of learning doesn't work, then I would recommend looking at other programs that are a bit more traditional and that have a good structure involved, where you do have educators leading the show. And many programs follow that. And, I think that there are certain types of classes that I would benefit from doing that, especially ones that I'm not familiar with the content matter, where it might be harder for me to learn it on my own. When you're at a master's level or doctoral level, a lot of the time you have already developed a certain specialization or expertise in an area, and therefore you're not building your knowledge from scratch. You're building it from already higher than a baseline. So if you're in the case where you are totally new to the subject matter, having a structure can be very useful. If you're interested in this topic, I did create a video on competency-based education and why I think it matters, and that was more focused on my approach as it related to WGU. and how a B grade is the final grade you end up with, and how I thought that was valuable because we're not always shooting for an A grade in our lives or in the world of work. So you can check out that video. I'll link it below, or I'll link it kind of here or here. Anyways, why don't you tell me or anyone that's watching this video below in the comments, what are your requirements or criteria for an educational program, and what do you seek in learning or a way of learning that really aligns with who you are and how you prefer to learn? All right, hopefully you found that interesting or somewhat relevant. Otherwise, I will see you in another video.